1 Corinthians 10. For I do not want you to be ignorant, brothers and sisters, that our fathers were all under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. They all were immersed into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they were drinking from a spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Messiah. Nevertheless, God was not pleased with most of them, for they were struck down in the desert. Now these things happened as examples for us, so we wouldn't crave evil things just as they did. Do not be idolaters, as some of them were, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. So let's not commit sexual immorality, as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 fell. And let's not test the Lord, as some of them did, and were destroyed by serpents. And let's not grumble, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the destroying angel. Now these things happened to them as an example, and it was written down as a warning to us, on whom the ends of the ages have come. Therefore let the one who thinks that he stands watch out that he doesn't fall. No temptation has taken hold of you except what is common to mankind. But God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you can handle. But with the temptation, he will also provide a way of escape, so you will be able to endure it. Therefore, my dearly loved ones, flee from idolatry. I speak to sensible people. Judge for yourselves what I say. The cup of blessing that we bless, isn't it a sharing of Messiah's blood? The bread which we break, isn't it a sharing of Messiah's body? Since there is one bread, we who are many in one body, for we all partake of the one bread. Consider physical Israel. Those who eat the sacrifices, aren't they partners in the altar? What am I saying then? That an idol sacrifices anything, or that an idol sacrifices anything? No, I'm saying that what the pagans sacrifice is to demons and not to God, and I don't want you to become partners with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons. Or do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? We are not stronger than he, are we? Everything is permitted, but not everything is helpful. Everything is permitted, but not everything builds up. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. Eat whatever is sold in the meat market without raising questions of conscience, for the earth is the Lord's in its fullness. If an unbeliever invites you over and you want to go over, eat whatever is set before you without raising questions of conscience. But if anyone says to you, this is from an idol sacrifice, do not eat it, for the sake of the one who informed you and for the sake of conscience. Not your own conscience, I mean, but the other person's. For why is my freedom judged by another conscience? If I partake with thankfulness, why am I denounced because of something I give thanks for? Therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. Give no offense either to Jewish or Greek people in God's community. And just as I also try to please everyone in everything, not seeking my own benefit, but the benefit of many, so that I might be saved. 1 Corinthians 11. Be imitators of me, just as I also am of Messiah. Now I praise you because you remember me in everything and hold firm to the traditions, just as I pass them on to you. But I want you to know that the head of every man is Messiah, and the head of every woman is the man, and the head of Messiah is God. Every man praying or prophesying with his head covered dishonors his head, but every woman praying or prophesying for her head, with her head uncovered, dishonors her head. For it is the same as having been shaved. For if a woman does not cover her head, let her cut off her hair. But if it is shameful for a woman to have her hair cut off, or to be shaved, let her cover her head. For surely a man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and the glory of God. But the woman is the glory of man. For man is not from woman, but woman from man. Neither was a man created for the woman's sake, but woman for the man's sake. For this reason, the woman ought to have a symbol of authority on her head because of the angels. In any case, in the Lord, woman is not independent of man, and man is not independent of woman. For just as the woman came from the man, so also the man came through the woman. But also all things are from God. Judge for yourselves. Is it proper for a woman to pray to God with her head uncovered? Does the natural order of things teach you if a man has long hair, it is a disgrace for him? But if a woman has long hair, it is her glory? For hair was given to her as a covering. But if anyone intends to be contentious, we have no such custom, nor do God's communities. But in giving you this instruction, I do not praise you. For when you meet together, it does more harm than good. For first of all, when you come together as Messiah's community, I hear that there are divisions among you. And to some extent, I believe it. For there must be factions among you, so that among you are tried, and true may be evident. Therefore, when you meet together in the same place, it is not to eat the Lord's Supper. For each one takes his own supper beforehand, and goes on hungry while another gets drunk. What? It is certainly not that you do not have houses, is it? Don't you have houses to eat and drink in? Or do you despise God's community and try to humiliate those who have nothing? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you? I don't praise you for this. For I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you, that the Lord Yeshua, on the night he was betrayed, took matzah, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in memory of me." In the same way, he also took the cup after supper, saying, "The cup is a new covenant in my blood. Do this as often as you drink it in memory of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. Therefore, whoever eats the bread or drinks the Lord's cup in an unworthy manner will be guilty of the body and the blood of the Lord. But a man must examine himself, and then let him eat the bread and drink from the cup. For the one who eats and drinks without recognizing the body eats and drinks judgment on himself. For this reason many among you are weak and sick, and quite a few have died. For if we were judging ourselves thoroughly, we wouldn't be coming under judgment. But we are judged. We are being disciplined by the Lord, so that we might not be condemned along with the world. So then, my brothers and sisters, when you come together to eat, wait for one another. If anyone is hungry, let him eat at home, so that when you meet, it doesn't lead to judgment. And the rest I will put in order when I come. 1 Corinthians 12. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brothers and sisters, I do not want you to be ignorant. You know that when you were pagans, you were enticed by idols that cannot speak, and you got led astray. Therefore I make known to you that no one is speaking by the Ruach Elohim. Yeshua be cursed, and no one can say Yeshua is Lord, except by the Ruach HaKodesh. Now there are various kinds of gifts, but the same Ruach. There are various kinds of services, but the same Lord. There are various kinds of workings, but the same God who works all things in all people. But to each person is given the manifestation of the Ruach for the benefit of all. For no one is given the Ruach, a word of wisdom, to another word of knowledge according to the same Ruach, to another faith by the same Ruach, to another gifts of the healings by the one Ruach, to another workings of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another different kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Ruach activates all these things, distributing to each person individually as he wills. For just as the body is one and has many parts, and all the parts of his body, though many, are one body, so also is Messiah. For in one Ruach we were all immersed into one body, whether Jewish or Greek, slave or free, and we were all made to drink of one Ruach. For the body is not one part, but many. If the foot says, "Since I'm not a hand, I'm not part of the body," it is therefore not part of the body. And if the ear says, "Since I'm not an eye, I'm not part of the body," it is for this reason any less part of this body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? But now God has placed in the parts, each one of them, in the body, just as he desired. If they were all one part, where would the body be? But now there are many parts, yet one body. If the eye cannot tell the hand, "I don't need you," or in turn the head to the feet, "I don't need you." On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be less important are indispensable. Those parts of the body that we think to be less honorable we clothe with greater honor, and our unrepresentable parts are treated with greater modesty. But our presentable parts have no such need, rather God assembled the body, giving more honor to those who are lacking, so that there may be no division in the body, but so that the parts may be the same, and may have the same care for one another. If one part suffers, all the parts suffer together. If one part is honored, all the parts rejoice together. Now you are the body of Messiah, and members individually. God has put into his community first emissaries, second prophets, third teachers, then miracles, then healings, helps, leadership, and various kinds of tongues. All are not emissaries, are they? All are not prophets, are they? All are not teachers, are they? All do not work miracles, do they? All do not have gifts of healings, do they? All do not speak in tongues, do they? All do not interpret, do they? But earnestly desire the greater gifts, and still I show you a far better way.